John Adams was the second president of the United States, serving from 1797 to 1801. He was born in Quincy, Massachusetts in 1735 and was a key figure in the American Revolution, serving as a delegate to the Continental Congress and helping draft the Declaration of Independence. After the war, Adams played a leading role in the drafting of the Constitution and served as the first vice president under George Washington. As president, Adams faced many challenges, including tension with France and a divided government at home. One of his major accomplishments was the resolution of the Quasi-war with France. The Quasi-war was a conflict fought almost entirely at sea between the United States and France from 1798 to 1800. It arose from tensions between the two countries, which had been exacerbated by the French Revolution and its aftermath, as well as long-standing trade disputes. In 1793, France declared war on Great Britain, and the United States declared its neutrality. However, the French government began to seize American vessels that were trading with the British, arguing that they were violating France's blockade. This led to widespread outrage in the United States, and in 1797, President John Adams appointed a commission to negotiate with the French government. The negotiations were unsuccessful, and in 1798, the French government suspended all commercial relations with the United States. In 1799, Adams sent another team of negotiators, led by John Marshall and Delbridge Gerry. The French government was not interested in negotiations and instead demanded a large bribe and a loan from the United States. Despite this setback, Adams continued to pursue a peaceful resolution to the conflict. In 1800, he sent another team of negotiators, led by William Vans Maury. This time, the French government was more willing to negotiate, and a settlement was reached. The settlement, known as the Convention of 1800, ended the Quasi-war and restored friendly relations between the United States and France. President Adams also dealt with domestic issues during his presidency. In 1798, President John Adams signed the Alien and Sedition Acts, a series of 4 laws passed by the Federalist-controlled Congress. The first law, the Alien Friends Act, authorized the president to deport any non-citizen deemed dangerous to the peace and safety of the United States. The second law, the Alien Enemies Act, allowed for the detention and deportation of male citizens of enemy countries during times of war. The third law, the Naturalization Act, increased the amount of time that an immigrant had to live in the United States before they could become a citizen from 5 to 14 years. This increased the difficulty for immigrants, particularly those from Ireland and France, to gain citizenship. The fourth law, the Sedition Act, made it a crime to publish false, scandalous, or malicious writings against the government or its officials. This law was widely seen as an attempt to suppress political opposition and silence critics of the Adams administration. The Alien and Sedition Acts were highly controversial and unpopular and were viewed as a violation of the principles of freedom of speech and freedom of the press. They were also seen as an attempt to suppress political opposition, particularly from the Democratic Republican Party. The Alien and Sedition Acts were eventually allowed to expire and were not renewed. However, they had a lasting impact on American politics and helped to further polarize the country along political lines. Adams advocated for a strong federal government and worked to strengthen the military. He recognized the need for a stronger naval force to defend the United States against foreign threats. So he proposed the establishment of a Department of the Navy to oversee the development and maintenance of the country's naval capabilities. On April 30, 1798, Congress passed the Act for establishing and organizing a Marine Corps, which also created the Department of the Navy. The Act stated that the Department of the Navy would be responsible for the construction and repair of naval vessels, the procurement of naval stores and equipment, and the management of naval personnel. Adams appointed Benjamin Stoddert as the first Secretary of the Navy, and under his leadership, the United States Navy was rapidly expanded and modernized. The creation of the Department of the Navy was a major milestone in the development of the United States military, and it has played a central role in the country's defense and foreign policy ever since. Despite his many accomplishments, Adams was not a popular president and lost his bid for re-election to Thomas Jefferson in 1800.